Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the We Have Issues podcast. Today we will be revisiting the Epstein files. There's been a lot of new revelations that have come out between Jeffrey Epstein and all of the sordid things that he's done. The law did pass to release the Epstein files, and our current administration is having issues with releasing them that we're going to talk about. And with that, I'm Chris.
I'm Carvell.
I'm Matt.
I don't know about you guys, but I am kind of sick and tired about finding out that all of our world leaders are satanic, cannibalistic, billionaire pedophiles. We really need to get on that and correct that issue. Speaking of PDF files, we have 3 million of the Epstein files, pages of the Epstein files released, and we got about 3 million more that haven't been released, but apparently our Attorney General Pam Bondi says that she's already done everything she can, and we shouldn't worry about it because the Dow's up 50,000. What's more important than protecting our children and the authority of the U.S. government, except the green line goes up? So what are you guys' take on our lovely Attorney General and her ideas?
Yeah, I think Pam Bondi is ridiculous. She is one of the people that I've seen that just makes me kind of scared for the future of this nation. She is not qualified, in my opinion, to be at the position she's sitting at. And one of the things that you mentioned about our world leaders, you forgot to leave one point out. She's a liar. And, we spoke about this before, but how do you go from we have all the files to there are no files to, okay, we got some files? Like, that's just a compulsive liar. And that's what we're seeing right now with this current administration is the willingness to lie to our faces and think it's okay and think that we're going to forget about it. And that's exactly what she's done and she's currently doing. So for me personally, I can't trust anything that's coming out of her mouth. I mean, we saw her in front of Congress and how she was talking about the Dow being over $50,000. Sorry, not $50,000. Well, yeah.
She said that she made that mistake. Sorry. She made that mistake too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least I caught it, I guess. Did she catch it? I didn't see it.
She did.
Okay. Well, and she's talking about that, and that's telling you where her priorities are. If your priority is to make the president seem like he's not the man who he is, and I'm not saying that I'm not going to accuse of Trump being part of this whole sex ring with Epstein or not.
I might,
but but it's not even speculation anymore. There's a lot of evidence that he is. The problem with this is that you cannot trust anything that's coming out of Pam Bondi's mouth. You cannot trust anything that she tells the public. You cannot trust those files that have been redacted so many times. You remember when the first files came out and how everything was blacked out? It gets kind of ridiculous. And what they're doing to the American people is they're telling the American people, you know what? We're going to protect the important people. We're going to protect the rich and famous. We're going to protect those who have our interests. And that's what I'm seeing. You think about Kush Patel, he's a yes man. Pam Bondi, she's a dear leader kind of woman. The one that Kim Jong-il is, where everybody had to say dear leader. Like what we saw when she gave her testimony to Congress is that she was just praising Trump the whole time. And no, we just want answers. We want the truth. Tell us the truth. We deserve it. But unfortunately, I can't trust anything coming out of this administration when it comes to the Epstein files, because, I mean, we know that she's lied before. We've seen it. She's been accused of lying at Congress. We've seen that she's willing to put Trump over the American Constitution, over the American people. We've seen that firsthand. We see that she's willing to do whatever the dear leader says. And the president, you have to respect the president because he's the president, right? But don't lie to the American people, because your job is to protect and help the American people, not your job. That's what's sad for me. I don't trust anything. I don't trust any of the Epstein files now because she's in control of it. Imagine, let's pretend I have an abusive home, and all the information that you're going to ever get, what goes in my household goes on, is from me, and you have to take my word. That's kind of what this feels like.
The government's never really been great about controlling this information that they don't want to get out. I mean, this is like aliens, Area 51, Roswell 101. They're very sloppy with it. People see things. People have documentation of things. It's hard to make that go away. Really, it's part of their tactics is just to flood the market with information all over the place, bad information, miscommunication, things like that. It confuses everybody. They're banking on the American attention span being, very short, and being able to distract Americans, and then making things sensationalized. I mean, the files have been built up all this time. They come out. Is there some shocking things? Yes, some of it's so shocking people won't believe it. So some people are just moving on. The problem with this is people aren't moving on, I think, the way they thought they were going to. They made such a big deal about it. Trump campaigned on it. Not really a way around that. Something had to come out, and I think the stuff that came out was quite shocking to some people. I guess better late than never to the freaking party. I mean, this is something I remember being a kid, and of course he didn't talk about it in such graphic terms, and there wasn't even an Epstein to be thought of back then, but my grandpa alluded to this. I mean, he used to talk about this sort of thing. Christians, anybody who has read the Bible has been telling people, this is what's going on. This is what world leaders are doing behind the scenes. These cults still exist. You've had atheists that have postulated this. You've had Kubrick trying to tell you. You have Satanists themselves that have told you this kind of stuff is going on, but nobody believed it for some reason. And I think it's because of that supernatural aspect in there, but you got to remove that completely. And you can't accuse Christians and accuse Muslims and accuse Jews of doing all these nefarious things behind the scenes to gain control. But then when you get to the Satanists, it's like, no, it can't be the Satanists. The Satanists don't do that. They don't really even believe in Satan. Bullshit. That's completely unfair. I mean, these people this is the only religion that is solely rooted and consolidated in power. It would make sense they would do whatever crazy thing they could think of in order to increase that power. And something I just want to say, if you're a Christian, you're going to church, if your pastor is not talking about this, if he lets this go, hopefully it's a he, not a she. If they let this go and they don't speak on this Epstein file situation, you need to start considering to look for another church. I know it's easy enough to beat up on, the single mothers, the drug addicts, the gays, everything like that. This is what we need to talk about. Those topics, that's sparring. This is the actual boxing match that we're supposed to be in. This is the ancient enemy of Christianity. This is in the Bible, and we need pastors across America. This should be one of the main topics that's being preached in church right now, in my opinion.
I think, Matt, that net is actually really, really bigger than we think, because for the longest time I've heard in the music industry, I'm sure we all have heard that, right?
Yep.
Is just webbed into this stuff. And it's so deep and it's so dark, but it's not only, it's Hollywood, the music industry. You got to think about this. Epstein has been in business, from my understanding, since the 70s and 80s. And in the 80s, from what I read, he only services billionaires, people with huge accounts. And the people with huge accounts like that, they have all sorts of influences. This is how Epstein was able to get so many people caught up in his web of satanic rituals and ideas. And I think a lot of people were involved. So many people were involved. At the end of the day, I need to know everyone that was involved, because I don't care that they did this in the past. If I can go to jail for touching a 16-year-old girl, why can't you go to jail for touching a 14-year-old girl? That's
not just one.
Yeah, not just one. Right. And that's the thing that a lot of people, it does surprise me that we still have this spirit inside the US, because if this was like 10, 15, 20 years ago, yes, of course, that, everybody's going after. But it seems like in today's age, our competitiveness as Americans have morphed a little bit to a more scarier aspect, where we're willing to look past somebody's problems or defects or just sins because they're on our side.
Well, it's not even that. It's just the CIA propaganda works so well of calling everybody conspiracy theorists. Nobody wants to be socially ostracized anymore. So this whole Epstein thing, it's weird. Like, it's weird to say that people are making babies into jerky and eating it. But hey, man, like they say Christians have done all these terrible things, the Crusades. There was a time when Christians were supposed to be eating babies. They said that about Jews. They said that about Germans.
What's funny about that? That did happen in the Bible, right?
Yes, that's my point. and I, unlike some people, if you were to remove all, and I think Thomas Jefferson tried to do this, if you remove all the supernatural aspects from the Bible, you still have a historical document. Christianity, and I've said this before, Christianity's still here, Islam's still here, Judaism's still here. Why should we believe that these satanic sex cults went anywhere? They're still here too. They just went underground, and now they barter in souls, because like you're saying, Carvell, you got these influences, you got these deals that are being exchanged. At a certain point, what do you have to exchange? The amount of influence, think about that, world leaders have. What do you have of monetary value that you can exchange? I guess you can make the case of, having control of the military or something like that, but at this point it's all about corrupting souls and having dirt on a physical person, and that's what they were dealing in, and it just so happens it ties into their occult activities.
It's like the old saying goes, everybody has a price.
Yep.
I mean, that's not the truth for everybody, but it's probably the truth for over 90% of the people. And if you're billionaires or you got a certain position, like, we were talking about earlier, how he was trying to influence the Russian president. Once you have leverage over anyone, in a certain way, especially their life, you can do a lot.
I will say, I mean, to their credit, Epstein tried to reach out to Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. Epstein reached out to both of those people, and they basically rejected him kind of whole cloth. Putin just didn't have time for Epstein. He was beneath him. And Xi Jinping was, told, don't trust this guy. And he didn't. And those are kind of like our enemies, right?
Right.
So who are our friends if they're doing all of these awful, terrible things and protecting these awful, terrible people? And our enemies are the ones with the moral high ground.
Well, I don't necessarily know it's a moral high ground as much as, like you're saying, Chris, they were warned and they knew it was an operation to get dirt on them. And a communist leader, they're ruthless. They're not going to let somebody have something they can hold over them. So
I kind of wonder if how salacious the accusations are and how extreme they are is kind of a way to discredit the rest of the files. Or if they knew that if they committed such outlandish acts that it might make the whole thing seem like a conspiracy theory, like you were saying, Matt. Do they intentionally throw this beef jerky, grape soda, pizza language into all their memos? Is this like a literal thing? Or is this just a way to make it seem like the more mundane, I guess, abuse of children flies under the radar because people will be like, well, you can't believe that's true.
No, it's very much literal. I think what they're banking on is the people that have been saying, the Alex Joneses that have been saying this for years, they believe it. The people who are just too smooth-brained to comprehend it and don't want to hear it to begin with, they're not going to believe it. It's out in the open because they know they've fractured us into two parties, so strongly. They know that this side will believe it, this side won't, so they're not worried about releasing that stuff.
My whole thing with these Epstein files is, it's not like, there's the billionaire pedophiles, there's Epstein himself, there's the governments that are protecting them. Epstein had hundreds of staff at his disposal in all of this time. There were very prominent people that were aware of what Epstein was doing. Where are those voices at right now? I get you sign NDAs, but NDAs don't protect illegal acts. And I don't know about you, but sacrificing and eating children is not legal anywhere in this world.
Maybe in
there
North
might be
Korea,
a couple of countries. There's still a couple of tribes, I think.
But so where are these people coming forward? Because if the fact that there's nobody there like speaking out gives credence to the fact of there are heavy government agencies that will go after any whistleblowers and make them disappear.
I don't think it's that complicated. I mean, I'm sure the records are kind of spotty and those people would be hard to track down. But I mean, and I'm speaking as an ex-Freemason, like, look how well we kept our secrets, within the lodge. It's not that hard. I mean, and really it's just, for the Masons, it was just on pain of these fictitious deaths that they would deal to you if you gave away the passwords and stuff. A stupid little, club, you keep your handshakes and your passwords under wraps. These people are probably getting these lavish lifestyles. There's no telling how well Jeffrey and them were taking care of their staff. I'm sure they weren't abusing them because of fears of them getting out. And have you ever noticed, like, I see that a lot around here, and I don't want to accuse anybody of anything, but have you ever seen that one person where it's like, what do they do? How do they afford their lifestyle? And it's just like, I show people where to put the colored pencils on the shelves. And it's like, and you make six figures a year doing this. And I think it's just me, maybe my conspiracy brain, but I think there are people all over society that are working and doing these little things behind the scenes, and they have a cover job, but they're really doing this kind of crap. So no, I
think you're right. Matt, I think you're 100% right. And I'm not even a conspiracy theorist. I mean, you think about it, like there are characters inside of our government that are doing things to make sure that there's population control. Maybe the population is actually obeying to what they ought to, like there's even, I remember during the COVID 2020 when there was a lot of protests and people throwing bricks through windows and all that stuff, but not all of that was being done from the left. Some of that was being done by people who were trying to start up a certain riot after like George Floyd and all that stuff. And it just told me, like, something I already knew, is that there are actually bad actors inside of this society that are trying to get a rise out of people, or they have some sort of agenda. And that's exactly what we're talking about. And in this agenda they have, of course, they're getting paid, and they're getting paid better than me and you.
Oh yeah.
You know what though?
That might be why Carvell's always driving Uber.
But you know what though? They're getting paid well, maybe, but that just means they're part of it. So that means that they're committing crimes. They're accomplices to crimes. Where are all the arrests? I would have never guessed that they would have arrested Prince Andrew. I mean, I would have never guessed that, because, like, I did not expect any of these people in high-ranking positions to be arrested. But what about the low-ranking people? Why are these people not being arrested?
Well, it makes sense.
Compel them to speak out and give their testimony.
That's the problem, Chris. They have too much information, so
that's
they're not going
to. That's a good thing.
No,
arrest them.
It's a good thing for who?
Deal.
It's a good thing for
everyone.
It's a good thing for us, but you got to understand Epstein. Remember, Epstein had a network of billionaires coming to his island.
Yeah.
People that are like
call them
big
out.
influences. So like if I am, because we all know, like there's no doubt in my mind that, like, for an example, Bill Gates is in there. There's no doubt in my mind. And the reason why I say there's no doubt in my mind that he's in there is because I just think it's too suspicious that his wife suddenly divorces him, and like she's upset at him, and then when she does that interview, she doesn't. I think she was asked point blank, "Do you think your husband is innocent?" And she just kind of gave a political answer, and it's like, you would know your husband after 25 years.
Well,
you
she's pissed at him because Gates gave her an STD.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's in the files.
I don't know, but that's the whole thing about it, right? When you have so many like bigwigs in your pocket and you suddenly die, but you know other people have information, you're gonna be like, don't come forward, or we're gonna like not even pay attention to like your testimony, because a lot of these women that were abused, they actually tried to give their testimony. They actually tried to go to the police. They actually tried to go to people, but they were brushed off.
Or, gotten rid of.
Or gotten rid of. I mean, you think
in a car
about
accident.
I was watching a short about like Michael Jackson, right? Mm-hmm. And like all these child movie stars,
yep.
At the time in the 90s and 2000s, like the police, FBI went to them and was like, hey, tell us what Michael Jackson did to you. And all of them were like, Michael Jackson didn't do anything to us.
Yep.
He was fun. He was great. But I'll tell you who did do something to us. Weinstein and these other guys, these other execs. And they would say they didn't care. They only wanted stuff on Michael Jackson.
Yep, Corey Feldman tribe. Yep.
And that's the reality of this world, right? The reality of it all is sometimes if it doesn't benefit who's ever like going after you, they're not gonna really pursue, especially if like they're being told like you're gonna lose your job, you're gonna lose your money, or we might even kill you if you do come forward.
And I think we're overthinking this. There is a lot to be said about this, keeping things separate, keeping these people from talking to each other, keeping them within their little box, their little assigned duties. And I think that's probably why they aren't going after more of these people. First of all, they probably don't have a record of these people. I'm sure like the butler, the cook for Epstein Island was probably from one of the islands around there anyways. Mm. And I mean, you just show up, you cook. That's all you know. You show up, you fly.
What are they cooking, Matt?
Well, so I would think that they probably cook pretty good dinners, and then that goes on somewhere else, the whole that kind of thing. I don't think they just let some dude off the Virgin Islands come over there and whip that up, because this is definitely not pineapple, But anyway, so I'm not really that interested in going after them, and this is a controversial take, and I don't really like to say this because I don't want anybody to think things about me, so I kind of keep it off to myself on Facebook. I want to see the videos. I know Pam Bondi and everybody's like, oh, well, we don't want to release the videos because, it involves children and victims and blah, blah, blur them out. I don't care. That's what I want to see. I want to see who was doing exactly what, and I want to see faces. And not because I'm some kind of weird, twisted pervert, but that's the only way you're going to get the public to know exactly who it was.
There's a lot of videos, because I heard that what Epstein used to do, he used to get a lot of these secret recording devices, put it everywhere on the island, put it everywhere in every room, just all everywhere, and just record. And he would do that to not only have like somebody in his back pocket, but he was a pervert. We all know that.
And why wouldn't you? We do that to an extent right now. So a few years.
Hey, put me out of that.
Well, no, okay, you have an apartment, so you don't have a Ring camera. But a few years back, I had a customer who I picked up. I was talking to a contractor, and they picked up the conversation on the Ring and went to the business owner and raised hell about something that I said, and it was completely out of context. There wasn't anything wrong with what I said. But even now, like, just people in general, if you have a Ring camera, you're kind of doing the same thing. So it's not far-fetched to believe that this guy's doing this.
Oh yeah. I mean, but like, he was doing it secretly, and right. So that like he just has like videos upon videos upon videos about everyone there. Just something that I've been saying over and over again. It's going to sound tiring. Like, I think there's just a lot of people that are involved, and because so many people are involved, I don't think anyone wants this to get out.
No, it's everybody's involved with it.
So guys, we keep talking about we need transparency with the Epstein files and all of that, but this didn't start with Epstein, and it's not going to end with Epstein, especially since no one's being prosecuted for this. I was a child at the time, but, I remember hearing years and years afterwards the Franklin child prostitution ring in Nebraska that happened in the late 80s, early 90s. And did investigations on it. There were a lot of reports. State of Nebraska did an official investigation, and would you know it? It kind of went the same trajectory as the Epstein case did it at the start. Maybe if the citizens of Nebraska had, leadership that was willing to champion this and force those sorts of records to come out like we have with the Epstein files, maybe we would have discovered something then, and we would have never even gotten Epstein in the first place. The way I see it is our leaders protecting Epstein just ensure that this behavior of abuse of children among the elite is going to continue. And I know for a fact it's still going on right now. Even with Epstein dead, it's still going on. Mm-hmm. Also, Epstein didn't kill himself.
I don't think he's dead at all.
Well, hey, that's another theory right there.
I mean, there's no way. There's no way Epstein killed himself. 2 days before he supposedly offs himself, he's talking to his lawyer saying that, let's get this plea deal done. I want to get out of here. And all of a sudden, they swap out the guards. The cameras shut off in this maximum security prison.
There's a fake body that they use to transport to the hospital.
Suppose I'm less inclined to believe Epstein is still alive.
No, I mean, you like, that's what happens in prison, That's what security guards do. Like, when prisoners fight or something's about to go down, somebody gets a fat check. You turn off the switch, or you switch the guards out, and I mean, we see this in movies all the time.
It's almost like, do they think we're stupid?
Yes.
I mean,
do they think we are stupid? Like, or is this a situation where it's like, we know and we know you can't do anything about it, until there's pitchforks and guillotines in the streets.
Yeah, let's both.
I mean, here's the thing about it, Chris. Like, me, you, Matt, a lot of us, we're smart and we won't let it slide. However, kind of as I was pointing to before, some politicians or some people can do such a heinous crime and they'll still have support. I mean, I've seen a few people online talk about, if Trump walked down on the street, shot somebody, I would still vote for him. I mean, that is actually the heart of a lot of American people. So the fact that this is actually happening, people will still defend their side. It's actually even more crazier now than it was before, because like where I was pointing to before, it was like there was a time where when Bill Clinton did what he did, which is really not comparative to like now, but when he did what he did in 1996, 7, and he lied on an oath and he admitted to it, Democrats didn't like him either. You know, Democrats, Republicans, nobody liked him. And nobody was like, hey, well, he's still on our team. Let's try to like accept him. Nobody liked that. But now today, all you have to be is on my team. And if you do something wrong, Chris, I'm going to say, well, was it really that bad? I know Chris lied, but politicians always lie. He's okay. Politicians kill. They always kill. Why are you going to punish Chris? You know, that's just...
Speaking of politicians, I would like to commend every last one of the politicians who is making the release of the Epstein files a point. And I think they are doing exactly what we would be doing if we had any sort of power or positions. I think literally every single ASP politician would be saying, you know, release the files, unredact everything. There's no discussion. That's just automatic what we'd be doing. And
for sure.
You know, I want to commend everyone and continue the good fight. And, you know, like, because this is something that America needs right now. We need clarity. We need transparency. And we need to put pedophiles in jail and, you know, break up all of these, you know, systematic sex abuse rings.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, Christians have had crusades for less is all I can say.
I mean, would this qualify as a just war?
100%.
If we knew who the enemy was, if we knew all the bad actors.
I think we know quite clearly.
This is like guerrilla warfare.
I think we know quite clearly who the enemy is. They're the people that want to worship the Tao.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even care so much about that. I care more about the devil worship. But I mean, that's how you get there.
It's the same. It's the same.
It is. There's a reason that there's a bull on Wall Street. I mean, it is, and worship of the Tao just inevitably turns into the devil worship. When you have that much money, I mean, you feel untouchable. You'll do whatever it takes to get more power because it's hard to satiate that.
Yeah, it's so weird how these billionaires could want more billions. And I'm like, bro, you got enough. Like, you can't spend that all in one lifetime. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, it's like Andrew Tate. He said when you get to that point, all you're doing is trying to find a better steak. And you know, and his point is, you get some, you think you have it all, and at that point you're like, well, there's something else I can have, and that's why it's such a power vacuum. That's why they are obsessed with power. And right. I mean, there's so much. Sex is such a powerful. I would say it's more powerful than any kind of drug. I mean, look at how much influence that you hold over somebody. Look at how manipulative it can be.
All right, everyone. With that, that's our episode on the Epstein files. Please reach out to your local politician in Congress and get them to be on this. This is an important thing that's going on in the country, and we need everybody to kind of push the release of these files, because that's the only way that the victims are going to see justice, and it's the only way that we're going to be able to stop this sort of abuse from happening. With that, I'm Chris.
I'm Carvell.
And God bless us all, and please take action. It is very important. Thank you all.